Right, everyone. So it is 4:02 p.m. On October 4th, and I'm calling this meeting of the Wakefield Youth Council into order. So our first item is attendance. So let me pull that up. All right, James Brogna,
Here.
Nathaniel,
Here.
Annabeth. Let's see, Annabeth. Thomas.
Here.
William.
Here.
Michaela.
Here.
Ahmed.
Here.
Madeline. Oh, I don't see Madeline. Maya said she wouldn't be here. Sophia. Juliana said she would not be able to make it. Olivia as well. Vanessa.
Here.
And Erin.
Erin can't make it, and Olivia is going to be running late,
Oh,
but
okay.
she'll be here. She had practice.
Okay. Thank you for letting me. So next on the agenda is our public comment. So are there any members of the public that would like to speak during this time? All right, seeing none. Next on the agenda is the approval of the September 21st, 2023 meeting minutes. So I'm going to turn it over to our clerk, Thomas, to provide a summary of those minutes.
All right. Hi, everyone. So the meeting went pretty smoothly, which was September 21st. There were no members of the public wishing to speak. We approved the meeting minutes from June 13th and September 6th. And we got to briefly meet new adult advisor from the middle school, and Stephen Ingalls is a school committee member. Liaison positions were assigned, and by now emails have been sent out, which will introduce you to your liaisons. We brought up the possibility of establishing a budget working group, and eventually decided to do that with Vanessa Westlake being the chair. The next communications and outreach subcommittee meeting is September 25th. Agenda is available on the town website, and it will discuss plans for Wakefield Town Day. And we discussed a little bit what we should do for Town Day. Bike valet at the farmers market are still open as of the meeting. I'm not sure if they still are. The Veterans Day cleanup is happening. We discussed some plans for that. We talked briefly about helping the Human Rights Campaign or Commission with active bystander training, and that will be pursued further by Vanessa and Michaela. Doodle poll was sent out.
Thank you, Thomas. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
I motion.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All right, so now to go down the roll. James?
Here. Oh. Yay.
It's okay. Nathaniel?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Thomas?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Michaela?
Yes.
Ahmed? And Vanessa.
Yes.
All right. Did I miss anyone? All right. So next on the agenda, we are talking about Town Day at the Common, which is taking place this Saturday. So just to preface this, an email was sent out to all of us involved with Town Day. And unfortunately, there will be some rain during that day. So they're going to provide a final decision as to whether or not Town Day will be pursued as of tomorrow at 5 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. So until then, we're going to continue moving forward with our plans for Town Day with some slight modifications just to make sure that everything can stay waterproof and to make sure that we can still effectively engage with the public on that day. We talked a lot about different things that we're going to be pursuing during Town Day at the Communications and Outreach meeting, outreach subcommittee meeting that took place, I believe, last week. So some of the different stuff that we talked about was including QR codes with our social media pages to allow people to see some more of the work that we do. Providing QR codes and signups for snow angels because Town Day is a big opportunity for us to share that, which is one of our biggest initiatives. Info sheets that people could take about the youth council, so those are being prepared as we as time goes on. And the survey for a interest form onto what people would like to see us pursue has been completed, and that will be set up into a QR code that people can scan during Town Day. So that would be, people can identify different areas of interest that they would like to see the youth council continue to pursue, and some other ideas that they would like to see us perhaps pursue. And also it would give them an opportunity to speak during public comments. So that's included as a section. And a different format of that is actually being worked on to be sent out to the general Wakefield Memorial High School student body. So stay tuned for that. And then something else that we talked about, which I know that we briefly touched upon at the last full council meeting, was doing a full map of Wakefield that would allow people to really discuss with us, like some of their favorite locations in Wakefield, some areas that they think that have been really well improved by the town in recent years, and some areas that they think that could be a little bit more improved. So now that rain is in the forecast, we probably can't have a full map of that size, but we can revert to a digital setting for that. And I know that Annabeth also brought up perhaps compiling all the results that we would get onto Google Maps that we could share on social media to kind of foment more discussion on our social media pages to continue after Town Day with that. And then we talked briefly about snacks or having hot chocolate there. I don't know if that would necessarily be feasible. But so with that all in mind, with everything that I've just explained, what are some thoughts that we have in general on Town Day?
I like the excuse me. I like the idea of QR codes. I think they're very useful now in this day and age where everything is mostly digital and it's very easy for people to access stuff. So I really like the idea of QR codes.
Yeah, definitely. It's been very helpful because it's also just so simple to use. All you have to do is scan it. So it definitely makes everything easier on our part. Does anyone else have anything that they'd like to say? Yes, Vanessa.
I think these are all great ideas. We could also maybe print a few copies of the Wakefield Youth Council like brochures that I made for past events last year too. I don't know if that would be helpful to kind of explain
definitely.
what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I think that that's a great thing to further print out along with the info sheets. And I think that actually that might just be better to do the brochures rather than create new info sheets.
Yeah, Vanessa, who has that file? I feel like it needs to be updated a little bit. Did you make it on Canva?
Yeah, I used the I think the account that you gave me to use, that was like the Canva premium account. I think it was for the youth action team, but I can send you the link, Ellie, too.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, because we can just use that and communication subcommittee can update it. Because Vanessa did a phenomenal job, but it'd be great to get some of the even more of the information you all have.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like stuff like the bike valet and other more recent initiatives that we followed in different policy aspects. Catherine, what are your
sorry.
No, continue.
Do you have any photos or anything like that? Like I could add that to the brochure to like update it too.
I would have to check. I
might definitely have some.
Okay. Yeah, that's good because I'm not sure that I have any more recent photos regarding the youth council. Oh, actually, one good photo would be the one that we posted on our social media page from our first in-person meeting. That might be a good one to include.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just wanted, Catherine, your take on, because I know that we usually use the the tablecloth for youth council when we do tabling events. What are your thoughts on if in regards to the rain? I'm not sure how that would work.
Let's do a meeting tomorrow. Like we can do a meeting, either we could do one Friday after school for anyone that's planning on if the town days is a go, and we can kind of come up with our plan, because we'll have to get a tent and everything, but yeah, so we'll see. If I get any inside scoop, I'll let you guys know.
So are there tents this year then? In
No.
addition to tables? No, so there are not. Okay.
So I mean, I would get one for the youth council anyway, but so yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, we do have some great supplies from last year. Vanessa or got that tablecloth, and we have some other youth council tchotchkes that we can bring.
Yeah, definitely.
And we have our sweatshirts too. So let's
Yeah.
talk about that at some point too, if we want to order more of those sweatshirts.
Yeah. All of you that are returning members to the youth council, if you are volunteering for town day, yeah, definitely try to wear your sweatshirts, and we'll talk more about that in regards to our newer members too, so they can also have access to that. And with that, make sure that you check your emails for the sign up genius that I sent out, because we want as many people as we can to volunteer for this. If you have anything, if you have like an extenuating circumstance that would prevent you from being able to volunteer, just let me or Catherine know, please. And I know that we've already had a bunch of people sign up on the sign up genius already. So thank you to all of you that have already volunteered. And did everyone receive my email with the sign up genius? All right. Okay, that's good. So does anyone else have any questions or comments on town day? All right. So next on our agenda is the communications and outreach subcommittee update. So Madeline is not here, so I will provide the update from our last meeting. So we talked about, well, so we basically just went over everything that we just talked about in regards to town day, with different interactive stuff that we could do. But we also talked about renewing the posting calendar. So Madeline now has editor access to that because only one person is able to edit it, unfortunately, due to open meeting laws. And we are once again trying to get back into pace with the three times posting a week on our social media pages, in which reposting is fine too. And we also talked about the active bystander training and meet the members posts. So that was one thing that I did want to touch upon with everyone. So we usually do annually meet the members posts, which allow the public to kind of put a face to the members of the youth council and kind of like introduce you to the town in regards to your position on the youth council. So Madeline will be sending out that form soon. So it just has a couple, like share a fun fact about yourself, your liaison information, and a photo of yourself if you're comfortable doing that. So that will be sent out shortly. So please fill that out when you receive it. Yeah. So does anyone have any questions on that or anything or any comments that they would like to say in regards?
Our new members, I'm gonna send you photo releases just to make sure that we have permission to post. But yeah, that's about it. But please submit those, because the first 2 years when we did those, they really drove up the engagement on the social media pages. And it's just really important when you step into representing the rest of the youth that you are a public figure and that people know to reach out to you about different things. So like I said, if you're not or Ali said you're not comfortable with your forward face, they can find creative ways. I know I always mention this. Thomas did his getting sworn in backwards, but if you can show your face, that's great. But no worries if you don't feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you all for cooperating with that, because it's definitely a big driver on our social media pages, because all that posting, it makes the algorithms happy, which is something that we try to do so that way we can get more coverage on other people's social media pages. So if no one has any more thoughts or questions on that, next is the Youth Council Finance Working Group update. So before I pass it over to Vanessa, I know that we have talked a lot about the cultural council grant opportunities about this before I go into some of the different opportunities that we've discussed about?
Ollie, did you say something? You broke up.
Oh, did I cut out?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, I just said.
Did you want me to go over, or was Vanessa gonna do that?
No, I was about to. I was gonna say if Vanessa just wanted to provide an overview of what the cultural the cultural council grant is before I go into the specific opportunities that we could use it for, and that we can discuss on.
If you allow me to screen share, I can also
yeah.
kind of give the overview while you guys are talking. It can be
Yeah.
on the screen.
Yeah, you
Okay.
have screen sharing abilities.
All right. You all see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So why doesn't Vanessa give an overview?
Okay, so I know in our last meeting we were talking about applying for a grant. So this would help us support kind of like some of the funding or projects that we would like to do this year. So we're working on this grant, and then later on this year we'll also work on being incorporated into the town's like yearly budget. But this will help us offset the cost of some of the more like specific projects and like initiatives we want to do. So we have a few ideas. Ali, I don't know if you wanted to go over them or I can.
I can go over them. Yeah. So
Ollie, do you want to just talk about what the goal of this grant, the cultural council, because when you apply to a grant, you want to make sure that you're meeting the needs of the funder, and this is what the funder wants. So maybe you can kind of go over what the Wakefield Arts Council is looking to fund.
Yeah, so the Wakefield Arts Council is looking to fund different opportunities that specifically promote the connection of the community in Wakefield and different programs that foment innovation, use different mediums and formats, and also just kind of like bridge different parts of the community together. So did you want to say anything else on that, Catherine?
Nope, it's right up there on the screen, so you guys can see that what the council supports. Really like arts and culture, and like Ali said, bringing the community together.
Yeah.
And then I can scroll down and talk about some of the brainstorming.
Yeah. So we did a little bit of brainstorming as to different ideas that we could use the Cultural Council grant for. So as the Youth Council in general, we're trying to move away from more one and done events, and we're trying to do more lasting policy changes. So different things that we had talked about were perhaps doing an open mic or coffee house at the Albion Cultural Exchange to kind of just bring the community together and try to help the community with the youth of the town, especially.
I think that would be a youth focus. These are
Yeah.
actually one and done events, so
Yeah.
not policy change, but we will be doing policy
Yeah.
change. But
Yeah.
These would be youth focused things. So
Yeah. Yeah, and especially since they are youth focused, they do create opportunities that we can get more information from the youth as to different policy areas that they'd like to see us pursue. And the other ones that we had talked about were senior center volunteering, where the seniors of Wakefield and the youth of the town can create a mural or do collective artwork for the community or some other art-centered activity together. So that would probably be partnered with the senior center or with the senior center or council on aging. And then create, and the last one was create a youth council publication to be distributed as a leaflet in the local newspaper and social media. So do we want to have a discussion on these three ideas? And if anyone has any other ideas? Yes, Nathaniel.
So I was thinking maybe, and I can talk more with the Environmental Sustainability Committee, maybe trying to do more often like town common cleanups, like the Veterans Day one. maybe trying to do those more often to help keep the community clean. But I can talk more with the environmental sustainability committee to get more information.
Yeah, I know that we've done a lot of those in the past with I know with the Warrior Cleanup Committee. So even with the veteran, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, even with the Veterans Day committee, with the Veterans Day cleanup, the cleanups are kind of intensive on the subcommittee, especially since they do require a lot of planning. So I think that if we were to partner perhaps with the Warrior Cleanup crew to let them take on most of the planning of it, and we provide volunteering support and promotion on social media. I feel like those are better ways to if we were to like pursue more cleanups throughout the year, it'd be mostly through that avenue as opposed to us planning them necessarily. Does anyone else have any? Does anyone have a particular of these three that we have here? Does anyone have any particular thoughts on any of them, or any preferences? Yeah, Vanessa.
Well, I kind of like the idea of like doing a mural. I think it could be a good opportunity for like the like different people from the town to like connect and like do something together. I know the Wakefield Human Rights Commission, they had a mural that they were going to do for a different event, but then it sadly got canceled. So I think maybe doing something along that like lines could be really nice, and you know also have a good like finishing product that we could have around town.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that that's something great that we could try to pursue with this. And I was also thinking about the open mic too at the Albion Cultural Exchange. I was drawn to that idea too. In addition to the other ones, especially because of the venue that it would provide us to really discuss with youth. But I feel like also the other one with the senior center volunteering also would provide us with that. So does anyone have anything else that they would like to say on that? Because if we do come to a close consensus on which one we'd like, perhaps we could vote on this today to see which one we'd like to pursue further with the finance working group. Yes, Vanessa.
Oh, I just want to say, tomorrow Catherine and I are meeting about the grant and kind of further discussing it. So if we have like kind of like what Ali was saying, like a set plan for what we want to do with the grant, like after this meeting, I think that would be helpful so that Catherine and I can kind of work out more of the details.
Yeah. So if no one else has any like thoughts, what I'm kind of thinking right now is maybe almost merging the open mic coffee house idea with the senior center volunteering, providing almost a venue for providing like a venue for youth to talk to us while also doing the it would be more focused on the mural idea, but it would also just provide, if brief, an opportunity for youth to like share with us things that they'd like us to do, more in less in a focused like open mic way, but more in the while we're volunteering. So just do people like that idea?
So just to reiterate, so we do it at the Council on Aging.
Yeah.
And then we're creating a mural, and then youth can open, because we're gonna have seniors there too.
Yeah.
Nathaniel, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience this summer with the ice cream social and what that was an opportunity where youth and seniors were openly discussing. What were your thoughts? I thought it was a cool event.
Yeah, so I thought I think it was a really nice event just for like the seniors to definitely get involved and know what's like going on with the youth right now. So I think doing something else like that would be nice so that we have like more of a connection, not just to the youth of Wakefield, but then towards a more variety of age groups. So yeah, I think it would definitely be a nice idea to do something with the seniors again.
Yeah, so would we like to do something like built upon the ice cream social, but as like an arts collective where we could give opportunities for everyone to kind of like do like a cross discussion between seniors and the youth of our town that we could take and further different goals that we could like center around this while also doing an art collective that would show, like Vanessa said, like a nice finished end product that like represents what the youth council and what like the seniors of our town stand for. Do people like that idea?
It's
Is
a really
anyone
good
on
idea.
this youth council involved in art at school or on the Arts Honor Society or anyone here?
I'm in
I'm not artsist.
Steel.
What'd you say, Michaela?
I'm in Voices of Steel at the high school.
Okay. Well, I love Voices of Steel.
I'm in the like National Art Honor Society.
Yeah. So I think that would be another great avenue to kind of like promote this definitely, and like perhaps even partner with to, because I know that National Arts Honor Society, they do need volunteer hours, right? Yeah. So yeah, I feel like that would be a great way to pursue this with them and the Council on Aging to create this dialogue opportunity and arts collective together.
Is James on here?
Yeah.
Okay, so James, Vanessa, let's make sure you're touching base with James too, because James is the liaison to the Council on Aging.
All right. So with that, would we like to vote to pursue this dialogue with Arts Collective as our cultural council grant opportunity? Would we like to vote on that? All right. So do I have a motion to pursue the and a senior and youth centered dialogue paired with an arts collective with the Council on Aging and National Art Honor Society? Do I have a motion to pursue that?
A motion.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, so now I'm going to go down the roll. So yay or nay? James,
Yeah.
Nathaniel,
Yay.
myself, yay. Thomas,
Yay.
William,
Yay.
Michaela,
Yay.
Ahmed,
Yay.
and Vanessa.
Yay.
All right, so that passes unanimously. So as Vanessa said, Vanessa and Catherine will be working on drafting and kind of discussing that further tomorrow. So I feel like those are great concrete steps towards that cultural council grant, which is a really great opportunity for us to further promote the connection of youth with the community and different aspects of the community. So thank you all. So does anyone have any questions or comments on that further, or anything that they'd like to say? All right, so next we have a school committee liaison update from Ahmed. Ahmed, would you like to talk as to what you would like to say in regards to your liaison?
Yeah, thank you, Ali. So I just really quickly wanted to say again, because it was the first school committee meeting that we had student representatives in person from a long time. The school committee meeting happened last week on Tuesday, and I really just wanted to give a quick update about the student representatives there and kind of just what happened at the meeting. So the student representatives, I was one of two student representatives that were there. The other two student representatives were there in spirit, but it was a really, really good opportunity, and I think that the school committee members really enjoyed having like students there physically, and I think a lot of members of the public too really enjoyed just the discussion that occurred there. There was also one really, really, really big topic that I wanted to just mention to all of you guys. At the school committee meeting, there was a huge debate between school committee members themselves and members of the public about the new Yonder system at the middle school that is potentially going to be adapted in November. Now, there have been no formal decisions. There was a presentation about Yonder from a Yonder representative at last week's school committee, but it seemed like a topic of like really big conflict between the community and the school committee members themselves. So I thought it would just be worthwhile to let you guys know about it and see what, first if you guys had any opinions and if you guys have heard about this or just to bring more attention to it.
Yeah, thank you, Ahmed. And to those who don't know, the Yonder system, it's been a little bit controversial in the middle school right now, trying to adopt it. In regards to the school, it would be restricting cell phone usage in the school. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. Because that is definitely something important that affects the youth of our town. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Ahmed before I continue?
My question is like, are they like, how are they going to be able to contact their family if there's an emergency? Because if they don't have their cell phone with them, if it's all locked up, then it's going to be hard to contact them during emergencies.
I think
Oh,
no,
sorry.
go ahead. This is your liaison, definitely.
No, so that was a topic that parents brought up and that school committee members talked about, but there were multiple like different conflicting perspectives as to why that's either a good thing or a bad thing. I kind of and the other student representative kind of reserved judgment on it just because we represent students, we don't represent our own opinions. So again, this is another thing that we as a youth council could potentially send out a survey to like the middle school or to parents of the middle school to get more feasible like numbers and more information about it. But at the time, because there's just so many conflicting viewpoints, I more collected information rather than chose a side.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say that's really good, Ahmed, that you kind of took that position because there is you sometimes you see the buzz on social media and you can see parents speaking at a school committee meeting, but to not get all the information, I know I've been on that several times. So would there be any way for you to invite like Principal Webb? I know we have Mr. Collins here, so we could maybe you could work with Mr. Collins to figure out to get some more information so so the youth council can have an updated FAQ and understand what this really is.
I think I can definitely do that, but I think something else too that I don't know if is possible or not. At the school committee meeting, a Yonder like representative formally came in and like showed us all the physical Yonder devices and explained it to us. Even if we would able to get him like virtually via Zoom for a youth council meeting or even in person if he's able to, I think would also help the youth council members gain a better perspective on this and see if we can formulate our own opinion or if we have any more action that we can take. But I can definitely touch base with my school committee liaison and with Principal Webb.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's important for us to look at this a little bit more closely, especially since we do represent the entirety of Wakefield youth, not just Wakefield public school students, but also the entirety of Wakefield youth. But as many of the youth in our town do attend Wakefield public schools, I think it's important for us to take a closer look. And I definitely think that it's a great idea to work with Mr. Collins on this to bring forth administration to us to shine more light on this. I know we have some questions, so Nathaniel.
Yeah, so my question was, how exactly would they, like, I know if it's a no phone policy, so would it just be don't bring them to school, or would they be like put them in your lockers? How would it exactly work?
So the way it was explained during the school committee meeting was that there was no, or from the perspective of a couple people, there was no cell phone policy in the student handbook, which was later discussed by the superintendent that there was apparently a formatting issue in Google Docs, so that didn't get like sent over when they formatted it. But that the Yonder system would basically be that students would bring in their phones inside pouches and they would be magnetically locked and they would have the phone physically on them throughout the school day, but it would just be inaccessible. And that when they leave, they would go to this almost magnetic station and just tap the pouch on there and have it unlocked for them.
Yeah, thank you. Michaela?
I was just wondering, like, how are they going to accommodate those that need their cell phones? Like, for example, those who have diabetes, like, and they need to manage their blood sugar levels on their phone. Like, how are they going to accommodate that?
So that was also touched upon by the Yonder representative himself, and basically there is an alternative Yonder pouch that is Velcro, meaning that the student phone is away, but it is still accessible. Accessible being a loose term here, in that if they need it for a medical reason, then they would be able to access their phone. But another side of this topic was that also parents were like, the phone is my personal property. What could I opt into my student having the Velcro pouch? And in that scenario, they were like, if I remember correctly, in the school committee discussions, they said that you have to have like a valid medical reason or other valid reason for you to get that Velcro pouch, which was again a topic of conflict.
One thing I can just to jump in for a second. Ahmed honestly knows more about this whole policy than like I think even a lot of the teachers do. So I definitely do think that there's a lot of discussions that still need to take place in terms of the rollout of this. And I know like there hasn't been a whole lot of like nothing's, I don't think anything's set in stone yet, at least from my perspective, in terms of how this is going to look and like all the nuances of it. It definitely seems like we're just like starting that process. So I don't know if that's helpful, but
and I think that that's really important what Mr. Collins said. So I think too, and what Ahmed said is that maybe that the youth council can hear the information on it, and then maybe through because you guys do have the communications campaign, you could create important facts for students to know or things like that if it is voted upon. So what's great about the youth council is you're good at putting the facts out there, and then providing information, and but getting all that information would be helpful. So that'd be great if you could set something up.
Yeah, and I definitely think that once we do have more information, that once we've gathered more information and have formulated our thoughts on this, that we could definitely, with social media providing like FAQs and even maybe even a press release in the paper to inform people about this, not necessarily with with individual opinions, but with general informational statements. Yes, Mr. Ingles.
Hi. First, I apologize. I'm late. Work life. And I probably jumped right into the middle of this conversation. But what I can offer is that I attended the Policy and Communications Subcommittee meeting yesterday, where they do have a revisioning of the handbook statement on sort of cell phone usage at the middle school. I think they got the draft to the place where they'll be bringing it forth to the larger committee on Tuesday. And so the student advisory members who sort of sit at the table, especially now during the meeting, that would be a great opportunity to sort of voice, like you did, Ahmed, in the previous meeting, sort of voice your particular viewpoint on both the handbook sort of rule and then the policy as a whole. I think generally what's supposed to happen is the policy is supposed to craft like the direction that we would like to take as a committee, as a community. And then what's left to administration and the educators is how we get there. So we say we want to go from A to B, and they go, okay, we're going to take this route to get there. So if the larger school committee says, if there's evidence that cell phone usage has been detrimental to learning in some of the schools, and we say we would like to curb that usage and its adverse effects on the student population, then administration and educators together would sort of come up with a way to make that happen, to address that concern. So, and I think that's what you would see, is that the policy would be, responsible use. There's a responsible use of technology policy that exists, but it's very broad. And then it points down to the handbook where it would start to be tightened up at the building level. And even in some cases at the classroom level per teacher, which I think is kind of what you have happening at the high school currently. So if that helps at all. I maybe said more than I was hoping to, but or thinking that I was going to, but effectively a handbook new change is going to come up on Tuesday. So feel free to weigh in at that time. That'd be a great place.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for your thoughts and information, Mr. Ingles. It's much appreciated. So I definitely have liked this discussion and the takeaways that we've had. So definitely looking forward to inviting someone from administration, perhaps even a Yonder representative to one of our meetings, which a Yonder representative might be more difficult, but definitely someone from administration to come shine some more light on this and to work towards creating an FAQ or some sort of informational release for the youth of the town. So does anyone else have any thoughts or comments on this? All right, so
I did want to say one thing. I will be presenting the youth risk behavior survey to the school committee on Tuesday with Mr. Kent and some administration. And actually kind of correlates to this because we have some data on Wakefield youth screen time. We have data on sleep. We have data on mental health, on substance use, on bullying. So Ahmed, you'll be there. Mr. Engels will be there, but it might be something, and you decide that it's important to bring this presentation back to the youth council as well.
And especially since we did vote on recommending the youth action team's proposal for later school start times, we backed them back in I forget what time, but it was during last term. Definitely looking to see how that in totality how that proposal on later school start times has more of a health effect based on our current very early school start times in school, and how that progress is being made with the youth action team proposal. So definitely stuff to bring back for our next meeting. All right, so does anyone else have any comments or questions in regards to the school committee? All right. So next on the agenda are liaison updates. And before we get into if anyone else has liaison updates, so Catherine has sent out all the emails regarding connecting with your liaison. So has everyone here received one of those? Why don't you raise your hand if you've seen your email? All right, has anyone not seen their email? Okay. So based on this, I think that everyone has seen their connection with their liaison. So definitely try to set up that meeting between yourself and your liaison. And during that discussion, I want everyone to really focus on that bridge that liaison served between our council and their board, with that two-way communication flow, bringing what we do to them and what they do to us, and try to think of different policy areas that would affect the youth that we could bring forward here and try to pursue with our different projects. So definitely stuff to think about. I know I'm meeting with Town Administrator Steve Mayo next Wednesday, I believe, to discuss more about this. So definitely. So with that, does anyone have any liaison updates since our last meeting?
Has anyone set up their meeting with their liaison person?
Not yet, but like how would that work? Like, would I just email them and like?
Did you see the email from? Yeah. So you can just email them. I mean, with yours, Michaela, you could just attend a meeting. So that's a little easier. So you could look at, or you can meet with a representative from there.
Okay.
So yeah, so you can, I would encourage you to usually, a lot of times, like I've seen some of them, like library, Thomas, I know Mr. Mullen reached out to you to set up a meeting. Some people emailed back right away, and others, it takes a little more time. So if you don't hear back from your person, or you don't feel comfortable reaching out to them by the end of this week, early next week, let me know. I'm actually going to have Mr. Collins coordinate with our 3 middle schoolers. So Nathaniel, so Nathaniel, James, and Annabeth. If you haven't heard from your liaisons, reach out to Mr. Collins, because that'll just be a little easier for him to help you. Mr. Collins, you and I can touch base on those people, but that way, so middle schoolers, you reach out to Mr. Collins, and he's going to help guide you with your liaison roles, and high schoolers reach out to me.
Does that sound good, everyone? Yeah. And if you do have great discussions with your liaison representatives and would like to have them come to a future meeting, definitely keep that on the horizon, because we definitely want to be hearing more from your liaisons. I know that we had great discussions last year with people like Olivia, with her liaison to the police department, and we would definitely like to return to those discussions and further them. And as we just discussed with Ahmed and his liaison of the school committee, definitely bringing someone forward from administration to talk more about different stuff. I think that that's great. And we have our liaisons from town council and school committee here, usually with us, Julie Smith Galvin and Stephen Ingalls. So that's definitely great. So does anyone else have any thoughts or comments on that? Okay, so next, I just wanted to do a brief reiteration of the bike valet. So the bike valet is still going on, and I believe it will continue going on until the end of October. Am I correct on that, Catherine?
Yeah, when the farmers market ends. So we definitely have a couple more weeks of bike valet. If it's raining, we typically don't have it because people don't tend to ride their bikes to the farmers market. But I let whoever know, who's ever signed up know that we're not going to have it. But we have a couple more weekends where we need volunteers. So if you haven't done the bike valet, I'm going to encourage you, because at the last minute I have to ask my own kids to do it. So it'd be great if you guys could sign up as well.
Yeah, definitely make sure to and I can send out the sign up genius again for the bike valet too, so that way it's at the top of people's inboxes, so that way more people can sign up for it. So does anyone else have any comments on that? Okay, so next on the agenda is, it's more of a broad topic. So I wrote upcoming projects and policy goals discussion. So there's a couple different areas of discussion that I'd like to touch upon. So first, I wanted to talk about the Veterans Day cleanup that we've held annually for the past 2 years. So that would be in conjunction with, so first we're looking, so previously in the past, we've looked to do that more independently, planning that and getting volunteers to do that. So this year we're looking to do a little bit of a different format to work more closely with the Warrior Cleanup crew, since they have more of an established cleanup association and network with that. So I'm in communication with Maggie Schaffer, who is the head of the Warrior Cleanup crew. And what we're hoping to do is more of where they can take on more of the planning of it, and we help more with promotion and volunteers with that. So that's definitely something that we're going to continue to pursue. I know last year we didn't have a lot of great turnout just because of how things fell, and it fell on a long weekend as well. So we're hoping that we can get more turnout this year by doing a big partnership with the Warrior Cleanup crew, because we did have a great spring cleanup with them this past in these past months. So definitely something to keep on the horizon. And as for the other items that I wanted to touch upon were snow angels. So snow angels will be coming up soon as the weather keeps getting colder. I know that Juliana is not here, and she's been the lead on this in the past. So what are the current, Catherine, how is snow angels currently standing?
So what we'll need to do is James, you'll want to make sure, maybe Mr. Collins, you set up a meeting with Karen from the Council on Aging, because she will get all the seniors sign up through her office. So she's definitely counting on it. I know she's doing the senior resource fair on the 25th. So maybe if you can touch base with her before that, and I'll send an email after this meeting to initiate that. And then we need all of you to recruit the youth volunteers. And if we don't have enough youth volunteers, what happened last year is I had to have youth council members also be snow angels. So that is something that we want to really recruit for. So we can recruit middle schoolers and we can recruit high schoolers. But last year I think we had 35 seniors sign up. So we had to match. Some youth were willing to take 2 walkways, but it's something that we're going to need to start thinking about how we're going to market those signups. If anyone has any ideas on how to do that, I don't know if Juliana's going to head up Snow Angels this year. So if that's something someone's interested in heading up, because Juliana she ran the bike valet, so it might be somebody else's if someone else wants to head up Snow Angels.
Yeah. And with that, do we still have the form for it, like the online submission form? Is it the same one as last year, or does it need to be updated?
It'll need to be updated. So whoever wants to take on Snow Angels would want to update it. So if someone's feeling like, oh, I'm not sure how much I'm going to have with my liaison role, Snow Angels is a great project.
Yeah, definitely. So if anyone is interested in that, please email myself or Catherine, and we'll touch base more with that, hopefully very soon. Mr. Ingalls?
I was just going to ask, in terms of like signups, do you ever suggest like a buddy system, or like, because I'm not sure I've never had a snow angel. I have a snowblower, and my kid is just 10, so he's coming into shoveling age. It's great. But like, I think it's successful when you have a friend to do it with. If like everything else, like, so if you sort of promoted the idea of maybe finding somebody else in your neighborhood or a friend of yours that would do it with you, then maybe you can make it a little bit more enjoyable than just like a one person, because it's harder to get sort of out of bed and get motivated if it's just you. But if you have a friend that you can kind of pick up each other's spirits, and maybe that's helpful.
Yeah, I really like that idea, actually, because it does make it more enjoyable, and it makes the work go faster when it's like 2 people doing the walkway together. I think that's a great idea and definitely something that we should pursue. So thank you for that. Does anyone
I like that too, because a lot of times we have people that are afraid to sign up because, oh, I go away on weekends sometimes. So if they sign up as buddies, so whoever takes on Snow Angels would want to update the marketing to include that.
Yeah, definitely. Nathaniel?
Yeah, so would you sign, is there like a website where you sign up, or is it like on the town website? Do you know how you sign up exactly?
Yeah, so usually we promoted it on our social media pages, and it's through a form. It's through a Google form. That's how we've usually done it in the past. People fill out their address on that form, and then they get matched with usually the closest senior that lives in their radius. So that's how we've done it in the past usually.
I like that idea that Nathaniel mentioned. We should have it on the youth council website. We should have Snow Angels sign up, so we can work with Jen McDonald to put a direct link to have people sign up for Snow Angels and get it up sometime soon, because I know a lot of youth are looking for community service opportunities as well. So
yeah, definitely. And putting a press release out in the newspaper as well is a good option, because I know a lot of people will see that. Yeah, and I like the direct link because it definitely brings it more to the forefront of the town's mind, as opposed to our social media pages as well. Does anyone have any other questions or comments on that? Okay. So the other aspect that I wanted to talk about under this agenda item was the training active bystanders. Vanessa, did you have any updates on that? I know that last time we spoke, Sherry Oaken was on vacation and you couldn't get more information from her. So has there been any update?
No, there have not. I reached out to her again, I think like yesterday or 2 days ago, and I haven't heard back. But yeah, so I'm just waiting on a response.
Okay. Okay, thank you for letting us know. Okay, so we'll continue with that hopefully when we do have more information. So now at this time, I'd like to just open it up to any of you, if any of you had any ideas as to different projects or policy goals that you think that at this time that would be good to pursue as in addition to the ones that we've already talked about. Michaela? I'm sorry, Michaela, you're muted.
I'm sorry. This is a big idea and a big project, but I feel like with enough community support, we can do this. So as members of the youth council, we are responsible in representing the youth and caring and tending to all youth, no matter what background. And so I think it would be a great idea to establish an accessible playground in Wakefield so that all kids can participate and have fun, no matter their background. So I've had a few ideas. First of all, we can partner with the Disabilities Commission or the Human Rights Commission. We can also partner with the recreational department as they handle those. I've had some ideas in how and structures we could use. One of them is ramps to playground structures. A lot of the times when I like take my little brother to playgrounds, I see that there's only stairs to playground structures, and I think it's really important that everyone can use the playground. So I think a ramp would really help that, especially for kids with that use mobility devices or have limited mobility issues. On top of that, like little spinning things on the playground. I don't know exactly what they're called, but they're kind of like the teacups at Disney World. Have you ever heard of those? But a lot of the times they're above ground. They're slightly above ground. So making it on a neutral ground would be helpful so that everyone could use it. So like if someone uses a wheelchair, they can just wheel in instead of having to like get up out of their wheelchair if they possibly can, or if they can't get up, then they wouldn't be able to use it at all. So making that on neutral ground is helpful. There's actually swings for wheelchairs, and I haven't come across those in Wakefield or in other communities. So I think a swing for wheelchairs would be really amazing. You can make the monkey bars lower so that those with mobility devices can also use those. And also sensory friendly play structures. That is a big thing that we need. A lot of neurodivergent kids, including those with autism, require more sensory input than neurotypical kids. So we need more sensory input in our playgrounds. And I know this is a big idea and this is a big possibility to pursue, but I feel like if we have enough support on it, we can definitely get it done and make playgrounds in Wakefield inclusive for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Michaela, for that. I feel like this is, and I know that I can tell that you've done a lot of research with this. So I feel like this is definitely something that we could look to pursue in the future. And I think that I'm sorry, who is the liaison to the Commission on Disabilities? I believe it's
Madeline.
Yeah.
So
I feel like
okay, go ahead, and then I'll say
no,
something.
you go first.
Well, one, I actually, as a parent, I helped build the playground, so I understand like what goes into it. But I 100% agree, Michaela. We tried to do that with our playground, but I understand that there's definitely more that needs to be done. So I think what we should do is maybe you and Madeline should start an email, send it to me, and then we'll set up a meeting with Dennis Fazio, who oversees our parks, because he'll know which playgrounds are. They have put in some items in some of the different playgrounds, but I'm not fully aware of what's been done in all the playgrounds. So we set a meeting with Dennis Fazio and Dan McGrath from the Recreation Department, and you and in Madeline, that would be really helpful. So send me an email after this meeting and we'll get the ball rolling on this.
Okay, and I know, just and going back to how you said they've been putting stuff in, I know the Woodville playground, I know they totally demolished it and set it up again. I haven't seen any accessible playground equipment at the Woodville. So I think that's really important to advocate and try to set an accessible playground up anywhere in Wakefield, or so you can some ideas anywhere in Wakefield, or you can renovate an existing playground so that we're not destroying the environment more.
Mr. Engels might have something to add on that.
I could. So honestly, the only accessible playground that used to exist in Wakefield was at the Walton School. The wooden structure there had ramps incorporated, so you could actually, if someone would use a wheelchair or sort of had that mobility issue, they had access to the playground structure when they rebuilt the new one. They redid the surface so that it's sort of that flat, spongy stuff that you could wheel onto, but the playground structure itself returned to stairs and climbing structures. Same thing with the Woodville. You know, Woodville has some challenges because of the layout of the back of the school. Often when you're incorporating ramps and things into playgrounds, one thing you need is more area, because those ramps reach out further. So schools that have a larger footprint, maybe to their play space, would be good candidates for that. But also, I think you're right. It doesn't need to be sort of dedicated to the schools. There are plenty of parks across town that this could be, added into. And as far as you're talking about wheelchair accessible swings, I don't think those exist anywhere in Wakefield. I've seen them in other places, but I don't think Wakefield has them.
Yeah, we have one of those larger swings, but it's not for wheelchairs. It's for
Right, you would have to transfer somebody, and not everybody. Sometimes people want to be self-sufficient. Students, youths, even adult. My wife likes to go on swings. If she was in a wheelchair, she would love to do that on her own, and not be sort of relying on other people to make that happen for her. So I applaud your direction. If there's anything sort of I could even do personally to help that, I'd be more than happy to. But yeah, sort of giving people back their autonomy and their agency of themselves and sort of how they want to play would be great.
Mr. Engels, you're on the
Kudos.
policy subcommittee, correct?
Negative. I am,
Oh.
although I am now on finance and facilities.
Well, that's even, I'm just wondering if there's any kind of policy that when a new playground is being constructed, that there needs to be some of the
There's
considerations that Michaela.
There's not, and it was brought up when Waltham was being built, because Waltham was the only school in Wakefield that had this. And I know, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's interesting that it has this that no other school has. And it was told to me, no, it's because it's ADA accessible. And so when they got their new playground, there was talk about, is it going to be accessible? And I think I was told yes, but I think what they were referring to was the surface. Because often people will say that if it has mulch or whatever, it's often not wheelchair accessible. And so if you notice, a lot of the playgrounds, when they're redone, when their surfaces are redone, they've moved on to that sort of spongy flat surface that anybody that had sort of mobility issues would have an easier time getting across. But then you get right up to the wall, right? And you get right up to, so it's good up until you get to the stairs.
Yeah, as someone who went to Walton myself, actually, I never really noticed. Again, I knew that about the ramp and all that. I never really realized that it was ADA accessible. And I feel like that is definitely something important, because these kids want to enjoy, and as you said, self-sufficiency too. It's important to them. So I love this idea, Michaela, and definitely keep me in the loop on this, because I want to be and support this idea as much as I can, and with the whole youth council too. Because I feel like this is a big but definitely accomplishable idea, and I feel like it's really important as members of the youth council that we should be advocating for all types of youth. So
Thank you. Going back to what Mr. Ingalls said about how places and parks and stuff, they make their playgrounds ADA accessible, but they don't go the extra mile to make it actually accessible for everyone and make everyone be able to actually play on the playground structure. Like for example, the spongy surface, they lay all that out, but they don't they don't add a ramp to go up, which is, I don't know, I can't even put it into words how upsetting it is.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. I definitely want us to continue with this. So thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Ingles, for your input as well. And thank you, Catherine, too. I feel like all this together, it really helps us to create a clear idea over what to do with this, because it's definitely very important to our mission as the youth council. So thank you.
Now,
Does any-
Catherine, I just have, sorry, Ellie, I just have one question. How would I I just want to make sure that I'm following policy and stuff. Would I send the email to you and a few other people, or?
Yeah, you can send it to me and then we can set up a meeting, like an informational meeting with, I can facilitate that with you and Madeline and a few of our town officials that oversee playground construction and how things get on the permanent building committee list and how that process works. And then I can also just reach out to our ADA compliance officer for the town, to our town engineer, to gather some more information. But if you send this email, we'll get the ball rolling and get something going.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And
all.
actually, I just remembered there's a grant that I'm involved in that actually applies to this as well. So we're in the application process. So the timing could work well.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, this all sounds great. Thank you, everyone, for this. So does anyone have any other policy ideas or projects that we could work on? All right. So we will stay updated on this and the other things that we talked about in the short-term future, because this is all very important stuff that we're going to continue with. And so do we have any general announcements from anyone? We've kind of Mr. Ingles, I know we spent a lot of time talking about the school committee, but are there any other updates that you have for us?
He might have had to pop off.
Oh, I
Oh,
think he's
no, there
muted.
he is. There he is.
No, I just like to hide. And I'm still getting used to unmuting myself after 4 years. And so, yeah, nothing sort of on the front. You're right there with the yonder pouches. I mean, it's going to impact you all directly. So I get plenty of emails from parents, and caregivers and such. So I think the youth voice is also important. It'll be an interesting space to sort of have that discussion. So that's very current. And then the youth risk behavior survey and what sort of comes of that and how it informs other things like school start times. Yeah, just sitting in on policy, I think should more or less have policy people be also involved with youth council, talking about what's coming up. I know they're going to have conversations around homework policy. I know there's been some talk about, is there something that they should enshrine as to, should there be limits or direction to what homework is? I think the visit from the Swiss students to school committee, and they started talking about what their school day looks like. Both in forms of like how they get back and forth, and they do have longer school days, but it's also more not quite as structured. I think they found the structure of our school day to be a little confining, perhaps. And then that they don't have homework, but it's easy to not have homework if you're in school for 10 hours a day. I don't know. So I think it's causing conversations and people to talk, as well as the school start time is still very much it's an active process right now. Sort of just thinking about it's not just scheduling buses, it's getting buy-in from families as a whole, from sort of traffic advisory, from the sports director, from Mr. Kent, everybody. There's so many people that you don't really see who this touches until you start asking and looking around. And that's kind of where we are now, is gathering information on who all of the stakeholders are. So yeah, that's kind of like the hot button youth topics currently. I don't know if I'm missing anything, or if there's anything that you think we're working on.
No, that all sounds great. Thank you. Yeah, definitely we'll be keeping an eye out for all that policy. So I feel like that's all really great stuff too.
Sure.
Does anyone else have any other announcements that we'd like to touch on before we adjourn? All right, so for our next meeting date, we are meeting on October 18th, which is a half day. So usually we meet 11:45 to give enough time for the middle school members to get to WCAT, which is in the back of the Wakefield High School. And we'll be meeting at that time. So on that half day. So does that sound good for everyone? Yeah, and as always, just email me if you're not going to be able to make it. And
You can zoom in too.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, I
it's
was
a
just
hybrid.
yeah, there's still a Zoom option for anyone that's unable to be there in person.
And I'll have food.
Yeah. All right. So, now do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'm
Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, so now I'm gonna go down the roll, yay or nay. James,
Yeah.
Nathaniel,
Yay.
Thomas,
Yay.
William,
Yay.
Michaela,
Yay.
Ahmed.
Yeah.
Vanessa had to hop off her marching band, and myself, yay. So we have unanimously adjourned. Thank you, everyone, and I will be in touch with everything that we discussed today. So thank you, everyone, for all these great discussions. All right, bye, everyone.